Every episode's a hit, it's a guaranteed ball. So let's get moving, swing to the Flurry Sports Groove. Listen up and let your worries just snooze. Grab your popcorn, settle in, let's have a blast. With Zach and Jake, the Flurry Sports Podcast.
We are just as happy to be here as you are, and that's because we have been delayed a cool 45 minutes thanks to the I Don't Think So podcast. So it was a doozy over there from what I could tell. They are talking about some topical stuff, conspiracies. Do you think P. Diddy did what he was accused of? That's what I could only assume is what they talked about. It was
they talked about P. Diddy.
Cool. Well, I mean, the first thing they brought up was something that was already provenly false. So I think you should definitely go and listen to the I Don't Think So podcast. That'll drop on Wednesday. There's going to be people listening to this live, Jake, because we are live on the Flurry Sports YouTube channel, on my Twitter, on the Flurry Sports Twitch. So if you are watching this, definitely jump in the chat. We are going to be giving our 3 wishes each for the rest of the NFL season. We got some rapid fire sports questions that I'm going to ask Jake. But before we jump into that, I just said we were delayed because of the I Don't Think So podcast. And there's a lot of Dancing with the Stars talk. Apparently, Danny Amendola's over there, how the mighty have fallen. I do remember a 70-yard touchdown that you helped my fantasy team with when you were on the St. Louis Rams, of all teams. That was a great. And then I think he immediately dislocated his elbow. But I've never watched Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah,
that was not a bit. In my life, it feels wild. First off, I didn't know that there was leaks. I didn't know that there was storylines.
Yeah,
and it feels like something we could get very into, and it could be something we could book, or there's something there for like fantasy scoring from what they were talking about. It seems like something we could do, or like a draft or something. With
there has to be a DWTS league, the Mirror Ball League, we could call it, because that's the trophy they give out.
Okay, that sounds great.
I will say, when Donald Driver was on the show, was the season when my family watched like religiously. We called so many times on our home phone in the championship to vote for him that a person manning the phones was like, "You can't call anymore." They're like, "You've exceeded your limit."
Did he win?
He won, thanks to us.
It feels like a very Midwestern, like Wisconsin. Every old Wisconsin family called for Donald Driver.
100%.
Is he the most beloved Packer in the past half century?
I would say so, because he stuck around. I think for a moment there was an argument of like Jordy Nelson very much occupied similar space, but like Donald Driver still telling me to buckle up.
Yeah, he's still on commercials and shit. I don't think there's anybody who dislikes Donald Driver. I think there's people that dislike Jordy for wrong reasons, just because he went to a different team, like you said. After he said he would come back for any amount of money, and they said no, thank you. But like him, Randall Cobb was in the conversation before he went to other teams, maybe.
Favre.
But Donald Driver, Favre, beloved, obviously, for many reasons. Everyone loves him. Aaron Rodgers, I haven't heard anything negative about him.
The only other guy I can think of, but it's just not as big a name, as Mason Crosby.
Martellus Bennett.
Yeah, that's true. Mercedes Lewis.
I was joking about Martellus Bennett.
Well, I was correcting you. I thought you meant, I literally thought you meant Mercedes
no.
Lewis.
Oh. No. Mercedes. Fuck yeah. Love Mercedes. But yeah, welcome to the Flurry Sports Podcast.
Where we gave old Packers. Next, KGB.
Yeah. Wait till next week. We should just go by team. This was one of my least favorite weeks in the NFL I've ever had. And this, we'll start there. And that's because I'm directly tied to it with sports betting. This is the worst sports betting weekend of my life.
Wow. You had a lot of money on K-State.
Yeah. And Taco Bell burritos. We'll get to it later. I mean, we got burritos on hand, And so that's the second half of the show. So stay tuned. Give a like if you want me to shove a 5-layer burrito up my ass because of K-State lost to a bunch of Mormons. For the people who don't know what I'm talking about, that was probably a wild sentence. But Google it. Actually Google it and let us know what you find.
Yeah, that's true. Google 5-layer burrito K-State. See what happens.
That's a more safe Google for sure.
Then
I was thinking
5-layer burrito shoved up ass.
Yes, yeah. Never know. But we're like planning the show. You said you want to give your 3 wishes for the NFL season. We'll jump into that in a second. If you guys have any wishes for the rest of the NFL season, comment them. If you're live here with us, definitely let us know in the chat. There had to have been something going through your mind. Was it because this was a bad weekend? Was it because this was an amazing weekend? Do you want the good times to keep rolling? What's going on?
Here's why it came into my mind. Honestly, I need some storylines to develop that are, if I had to pick like what is the dominant NFL storylines right now, it would be Kansas City, still very good. It's just like, will they lose this week or not? This one, but which I'm out on. I'm honestly out on the second one, which is tied to Kansas City. But I would say the second biggest storyline is how much the refs are helping Kansas City / like refs in general. Fuck that, man. Give me like
it's stupid.
It's gone too far. I'm now pro ref. It's gone too far.
I'm not doing that.
I don't know.
I'll never be pro ref.
I just don't. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it was cool and edgy when people are like, oh, the NFL rigging things. And now it's like, no, obviously, because it happens every week. It's not happening.
How amazing of a feeling was it, though, when everyone was saying Patriots are rigging, Patriots are cheating. And all of a sudden, Tom Brady's deflating footballs. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, the most minute thing. It's like, I knew it. We need to take their Super Bowls away. They don't even count. Well, it felt so good.
The Patriots had a wrinkle of like the thing with the Patriots that was always irritating is they were like, why does everyone think they're cheating? Because you keep nothing major, but you keep having small cheating scandals. You keep having little ones.
Well, it's little loopholes. It's always like there's no rule for it, but you can't do that. And now we have to make a rule. You can't spy on the other team, Bill. Stop recording them. It's like, oh, my bad. I didn't know.
Also, stop doing that thing where you take penalties on purpose. That one always got me mad too. That one fired me up. But no,
I like declining the delay of game penalties. It's him and Vrabel going back and forth with that. Incredible.
I know that's your shit, but like, yeah. So that's dumb. By the way, if anything comes out 100, because what would get people fired up more than anything? A small cheating scandal comes out with the Chiefs. Let me think on the fly what I want that to be. I know who I want to do it. I want it to be like they're paying. Like I want it to be like the Connor Stallions thing, but I want it to be like they're paying
Jackson
someone
Mahomes.
to go to public things. No, I want it to be done by Harrison Butker. I want Harrison Butker to be like paying someone to look at the other team's special teams film. Something that's like not important. It had no impact on the game, but it's Butker and it's cheating.
Can I put a vote in for Brittany Mahomes? Because that'll bring everybody together. Even Patrick. You'd be like, yeah, she's the worst, huh?
Yeah, by the way, first time I've heard someone call him Patrick in a hot minute. I feel like
Pat?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've heard Patrick Mahomes, to be clear, but I don't know if I've ever heard anyone be like, there's Patrick. It's like the star. But
what a bad name. No one's talking about that.
By the way, literally yesterday I was like, "Why Pat Mahomes too, loser?" And now I was like, "Oh yeah, he's got bronze." But I was like, "Just call yourself Junior." But I forgot he had a kid. But I was like, "Who goes by 2?" But anyway, those storylines, and then this one's biased. I would say the third biggest storyline is all the Vikings, and I just don't think it matters. I don't like them, and how often I hate. As much shit as the Chiefs always get, at least the Chiefs are good. Why does every storyline have to somewhat be related to the Jets?
Does it?
Darnold, like every time we talk about him, it's like, oh, did the Jets do that wrong or anything? I know it's just because a lot of sports media folks are from New York, so it like always ends up coming up. But if you like take tangent out the big ones, they always end up back at the Jets, and I'm like, or the Giants, and it's like I can't.
Yeah.
They talk about Saquon in Philly, but it's to tie it back to New York. Like,
I've heard that a lot. Like, oh, the Giants really screwed up. Like, okay, like, do you think they would be better with Saquon? Because I kind of don't.
So these wishes, Zach, these are wishes for entertainment. To your point,
Sure,
I think
of course,
we're in the murkiness of now that the season's longer. Guess what, folks? Lock in at week 8. That's when things matter. So I'm wishing we've done storylines in the past. We've booked. I'm now wishing into existence since the NFL's booked anyway. This is my plea to the writers. Could you make some of these things happen? And I will say I do have one particular one in mind, but I would also say it's my best one. So do you want me to open with it just to set the stage or end with it?
I think you got to end with it.
Me too. Good. Okay. I was like, because don't make me shoot my load too early, But
yeah, because the other two aren't that strong.
Yeah, 100%. This was a one concept pitch, and I'll work up to the one I like. But I've got an easy first one.
Okay, cool. I do too. I have a one that appeals to the everyman. So you can give yours. I'll give mine. It's not funny. It's just practical, and it needs to happen. But you go first.
Mine's funny and a little practical.
Okay.
Mine, we've got enough teams that I don't know if they're good or bad. I'd like one of them to stay bad. My pick, Dallas never wins another game. If I could make a wish into the universe, they're like no more. Dallas has had 8 years of are they good, are they not? I'm done with that storyline. I want them to be ironically terrible.
Yeah, I would love that so much. I brought this up to you before the show. Bill Belichick was on Pat McAfee today. They were basically saying, he was talking about how it's been a roller coaster. You thought one thing, the other things happened this NFL season, which is true. Nobody knows who's good. Nobody knows who's bad. The 49ers are 1-2, and they've lost to some bad teams. It's been weird. But Bill Belichick said, well, I think we know what's going on with one team. One team's bad. I think we know who they are. Who would you think is the one team Bill Belichick said is bad?
Well, you gave me a hint that I won't guess it, but just to play along, I mean, the answer should be Carolina.
It should be. And I will say this also isn't a team with 0 wins. This team has won a game.
Interesting. Las Vegas.
No. Bill Belichick zeroed in on one team. It was a former team of his.
Cleveland.
Yeah. Like the Browns are bad. And I don't disagree, but they're also not that bad.
No, that's such a funny zoom in on him. Like, I do think he's one, like, he locks in on his own folks. So I think he's like, come on, Cleveland. But that's funny. But again, and they're bad.
I'm not going to defend Deshaun Watson. So, like, yeah, Bill, get him.
But would you say they might be the worst situation in the NFL? I don't know if they're the worst team, but like, I guess if you had to point at one thing and like what's happening there is like gross, that's not going to end well. Like, I guess it would be Cleveland. Carolina's trying to be bad.
They are, but I mean, they just switched to the Red Rocket and they may never lose again.
That's true. I thought about him as one of my wishes, but here's what we've got going on in Dallas though. I've got 1 week of it and now I'm hooked. Because as much as I hate Dallas, this is the thing. To your point, they're 1-2. They're not awful. They got whooped by the Saints, but the Saints have been very good. And then they ended up making a big comeback in this game. They're fucking caught. They're chewing each other out on the sideline. They're yelling at things. Afterwards, Micah Parsons making vague threats. He's like, too many people out here trying to be Superman. Like, what does that mean? Like, there's no takeaways from everything. And that's in a game they lost by 3 points. I know they were down by a lot, but that was a 3-point loss. They're 1-2. Dak, after the game, walking through the locker rooms, yelling, I beg you to jump off. I want you off the wagon. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm off, baby, and I'm back in a different way. So I want him to, like, let's go. Let's full trash fire. Dak and Zeke are back in the locker room. Jerry's the one guy who might sell his team mid-season. Like, how bad does this get?
I mean, Jerry's going to do something. If they lose 2 more games in a row, I think they fire McCarthy right away.
And Jason Jarrett's back. Garrett.
Jeff Jarrett
is
back coaching the team.
By the way, he would do it.
He would do. He needs it. My first one, again, is just practical. No one's going to disagree. It's something I've been saying for a million years, and it's not an original thought. Everyone thinks it. We need to figure out the fucking NFL schedule. Okay?
Just figure
Well, that's the title. The big points here. Why, like, this week was a little bit more balanced. Next week, there's 8 early games, 4 afternoon games. Fucking even it out. It's stupid. Like,
we have 2 Monday Night Football games tonight.
Right, yeah. At the same time. They're not staggered. They're at the same time. So that it just eats into each other. What are we doing?
One of them has Washington in it.
Yeah. We didn't have to do that. It's just advertising like, yeah, we got 2 Monday Night Football games. We know which one you're going to watch. It's going to be Bills Jags. You don't got to watch the other one. Joe Burrow's probably going to keep sucking. Doesn't matter. Will they lose to the Washington? Maybe. Again, does not matter. Who cares? Like, it's so dumb. It's so easy. And I brought this up. I don't know where. Probably on Twitter. I'm like, we need to figure it fucking out. Like, why are we doing this? And someone said it's because of TV stuff. Like, you can't have too many things on the TV. Like, you can't have too many games at the same time. Like they did 3 hours earlier. Like, there's no reason. There's no reason. It's inexcusable. It's disgusting, I would say. It's like, it's the worst thing about the NFL.
It's the worst thing about sports. Listen, the NFL is bad. They are, and I know you know this because you're also a big basketball and hockey fan. Baseball is probably the worst of them. Every major sport has decided to fuck us over with their TV planning. It stinks. Yeah. The NFL was the best at it. I live 10 minutes from the center of the state, and I've got a fucking vie for do I have the Vikings or the Packers on my TV? It stinks, dude.
Yeah, that's bad. It's bad. But yeah, in Wisconsin, by the way, you should have the Packer game no matter.
Automatic.
That's insane. It's insane.
I had to watch F1 racing last week instead of the Packer game. I got the Viking game because everyone's got to watch Arnold, apparently.
I didn't have to do it. That's true. You did have to watch F1.
I did have to do it. My team's making a push.
God, what a bad sport.
I also call it fucking McLaurin. It's McLaren.
Big fan. Okay, what's your second wish?
My second wish, I had a couple ones. I'm going to throw out one that I'm not going to wish, but this is, you made me think of it. It's a more practical one, which is I need more haves and have-nots. I can't have everyone realizing they can make the playoffs at 9 wins. That's true. Like, let's just have some good teams and some terrible ones. Like, and the terrible teams can still have competitive matchups. Great. I'm tired of like the AFC South, like they're all I'm sure they're all going to get 9 wins. They're all fucking bad right now. Like, what's going on? So it's like, I just need, and maybe they'll all be terrible. I don't know. I need some relegation. I don't know what I need. That's a big wish, but I just need something. I fully
agree.
You made the best point earlier, which is, I would say we did a thing a couple of weeks ago, and I think everyone would still agree with it. Like, who are the Super Bowl teams? The teams who are like, yeah, you're still a Super Bowl team. 2 of them that I think everyone would say, San Francisco and Baltimore, are 1 and 2.
Yeah. And truly, if Baltimore could have lost that game, and they have 3 more like very tough games, I believe, coming up like in a row here. If they went 0-4, they're fucked. Like, they're done. There's not enough games. In which, by the way, the NFL would be like, wish you had 1 more week to make that playoff push, don't you?
Yeah. Better way to put it more concisely. This would be my 4th wish if we were in a universal economy. Is I want wins and losses to matter. Because on the flip side of it, the Eagles are 2 and we're in the shortest sport. I like baseball. I have to watch it. The White Sox just had 120 losses, and I like that sport. I have to watch a sport now. The Eagles are 2 and 1, and people are like, should Sirianni have a job? Yes, motherfucker. He's 2 and 1. Yeah. They're fine.
To your point, though, like the NFL's built for parity, for everyone to be competitive with everyone. That's not more entertaining than having true contenders, like terrible teams.
I shouldn't turn on the TV and not know who's good and bad. My opinion of teams didn't change after this week.
Right. Well, true. And I don't think this is an NFL
except
problem.
Miami.
Except Miami. It's the Panthers fucked everyone over. Like, of course you're going to go to Andy Dalton. You don't do it in week 3. Wait. Like, lose some games and then go to Andy Dalton. They just screwed everyone over.
And that brings me to wish number 2. It's a layup, but I need it. It's a 2-parter. I want Bryce Young on a different team.
Okay.
And I want him to be good immediately. I want them to be so stupid. I want them to be like, yeah, we've nailed it. Because right now, all I heard this week was like, Andy Dalton was better than they thought. Now they know what they have in the offense. Great. That way, when Bryce comes back, they know what they have. He'll have more confidence. That's not what I want to be happening internally. Internally, I want them to be like, maybe they gave up on Andy too fast. I want them to be like, maybe we could do this. The NFC South's terrible. We make a run. They trade Bryce. Let me throw out a team where Bryce would go. Let me know if you have one. Vegas is good. Yeah, that would be good. I think
if Stafford gets hurt, go to the Rams.
I'm not wishing this on them because I like Geno, but Seahawks would be fun. Because like Geno's not the future, so they could also make that move. And it's like, even if they're a little worse, who cares? By the way, they could probably stomach being a little worse. So
I'm done doubting Geno. I don't know if he's at the end of his career or the beginning. I truly have no idea what I'm watching.
By the way, another one who it's like it goes back to the Jets. So
yeah.
I don't know. The obvious one is Bryce in Miami, but
that's not fun to me. I don't want anyone to go there that's good.
That's also kind of where I'm at. Or if you're a fucking masochist, you just want to see the world burn, he gets traded to Dallas and is also terrible. Feeds into wish number 1. But those are my 2. I'm saving up for my big one. I'm going to hint now it does also involve a trade. Zach, what do you got for your second wish?
I'll go 2 in a row, and then I'll let you finish this, okay? So I'm going to do the one that relates to the one you just said. And I think the Panthers should start a new quarterback every single week to prove a point to Bryce Young and keep winning games. Win every single week and be like, see, this offense is so fucking perfect, and you couldn't do it. Like, we haven't figured out, Bryce. You're the problem. Bring in Ryan Tannehill. Trade for Trey Lance. No one can figure out Trey Lance. Trey Lance is the biggest bust of all time. Beat the Cowboys. Beat the Niners. I don't know if they play. Like, every single week, let's have a revolving door. Trade deadline is applicable for every team except for the Panthers. They get to do whatever they want this season. I think that would be the most entertaining of all. It would be great. It'd be great. One and done every week.
That's electric. And they keep trading. Like, maybe we get one more game of Andy and they trade him somewhere else. Like, they're just farming for picks. They get all their picks back. It's like draft day.
That would be wild, actually. Just a 7th rounder. We're not greedy. You want Andy Dalton? They could get a 7th rounder for Andy right
Andy
now.
Dalton to Miami. Skylar Thompson comes in, wins a game. They trade they trade Skylar.
Exactly.
Maybe Tannehill's the piece here. He comes in, fits in for a week. They trade him somewhere else, prove he's good to go. I'm going to stall for you for a second so you can give me 3. I want you to give me 3 names that fill in your rotation club. As you do that, I also just want to make a point that it's the reverse of one of the most unintentionally hilarious things I think a coach has ever done in the NFL, which is it's like the reverse of when Matt Nagy was like, I'm going to fucking prove to you our O-line sucks. And he just played Justin Fields till he died. He doesn't get enough love for that. He knew he was going to get He's like, no, I won't bench him. See what happens.
Oh, we need Justin. Okay. Go out there, Fields. Take a 7-step drop and see what happens. That's fine.
Tried to do that. He was like, okay,
Justin, what are you doing? You're in shotgun. Get under center. Nope. This is what the Bears fans want. You know what? Go show the city what you're made of.
And by the way, wanted to give us Caleb Williams, so maybe it was worth it. But
now Caleb Williams is God's gift, and he's 1-2. Bears fans are so cocky right now.
By the way, you know what win doesn't count against Will fucking Levis? We haven't talked about that game, but he stinks. What did you do? Yeah, where's the Justice for Malik shirts?
No kidding. So quarterbacks that would go to the Panthers. Okay, first off, Let's bring Cam Newton back for one more.
100% gets a win.
And QB sneak every play, by the way. We're going to beat the shit out of him. And then we're going to bring in Ryan Tannehill. Oh, Vrabel, you couldn't win with Ryan Tannehill? We can. One game, done. Okay. Third one. I'm trying to think of who. I mean, should we go Jake Delhomme? Just to prove a point? Like, you know what?
You're proving a point to Bryce Young. I kind of like it. Ryan Leaf.
Every generation, any Panther can come in and win this. Jake Delhomme would be good. Who's Ryan Kaepernick. Fuck it.
Fucking Colin Kaepernick would be so good.
If you know,
he gets a shot out of spite is also kind of funny.
I'm not a Kaepernick guy, not for the social justice. He's a prick, and he turned down too much money. But you know how insane the media would be if the Panthers sign Ryan Kaepernick, he wins a game, his very first game, and then cut him.
They're doing a rotation. Sorry, guys, we had to cut him. We got to get Blake Bortles in.
Yeah, Blake would be great. But yeah, it's like Kaepernick he just wants a chance. He comes back, proves his point. You're done. You're out of here. Be great.
I kind of want them to go that route of like, let's give it to folks who it's like the NFL for years has refused to give these folks a chance, and we're just going to stick it to Bryce. In comes Tim Tebow. You get a shot. Johnny Manziel, you're back in.
Clipboard Jesus.
Oh,
you know what?
Yeah.
Andrew Luck quit on the Colts, but he'd come for one on the Panthers.
But they cut him. Like one. It's a point. Yeah, I like that. Okay, what's your third wish?
Third one, and you said you're pro ref. I will never be pro ref.
I said if I'm running me over. They're winning me over. Y'all moaning too much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on board with refs or rigging games in favor. I just think they're terrible. So I think we need to have ref interviews. I think sideline interviews between quarters. Let's get them on the mic. And then I think we need a post-game press conference where we have questions come in. It's streamed on Twitter. Questions from Twitter come in. We get to ask questions to the refs. They have to answer or they get fined. They have to show up. They have to answer or they're fined. I think that would create the best content. I would love to have a mic and ask the refs a couple questions from time to time. And it has to be uncensored, obviously. It probably 2 to 3 hour press conferences. That's how long the games are. So fire away. I think that would be great. It'd be fantastic.
I think that's a great call. A, the little accountability would also be electric. B, which is let the refs stand up for themselves a little bit. That's kind of like what do we like about baseball? Angel Hernandez being like, I stand by it. And we're like, you're wrong. We can see you're wrong. And
that is great. Have we heard from him since he rode off into the sunset?
No, since he got his settlement package? No. I don't think
we should come ref for the NFL.
He might be already. My point to it was, you know what? My favorite thing in baseball was for years, the narrative was like, ever since they put the strike zone on TV, which I feel like the NFL is at now because we have all these angles and everything, like we can see they're wrong when they can't. For a while, I feel like there's a baseball conscience of like, all right, go easy on them. They can't see it the way we do. And then people on Twitter started fucking grading them. I feel like that's what got Angel Hernandez was all these people on Twitter was like, this is the furthest ball outside the plate since 1944. Like, I think baseball or football needs to start getting graded. In your interviews, I want you to hold up a report card and be like, 99% of refs would not have called that, would have called that pass interference. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, there should be a scoreboard for everything. And you're graded on a scale. How about that? You're paid on a scale. If you're the worst ref, if you're the best ref, put them all in a house. They live together. Reality TV. That would be great. That'd be great. And but they're just going to start hating each other. Ed Hockley is going to come back and just beat the shit out of everybody.
Because I will say, baseball umps were saved by the fact that I can name like 2 umps and they're terrible. I can't name any of the good ones. NFL refs need some fucking martyrs for the cause.
That's true.
I can only name the good ones or the buff ones.
One of the same. That is true. That's a good point. But Jake, one last wish, the one that this whole segment was built on, give it to me.
One wish and one wish only, because it's the closest I had to fantasy booking. I feel it even more strongly. People are going to be mad at me because one of these two people, he willed it into existence. Neither team, quote unquote, needs this trade. They're wrong. And the NFL genie will hear my cry. Cowards, do it. Do it back. Takesy backsies. Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford, part 2, Electric Boogaloo. I can't have Detroit do it without him. He's willing this team that nobody cares about to relevance. Meanwhile, Goff is going to cost Detroit when it matters. Stafford needs to get out there. I think they should trade him anyway. And I heard everyone pitch where he should go, and no one said Detroit, which is incorrect. Send him back to Detroit. Jared, see ya. Stafford's just as easy to chant as Jared Goff.
True.
Matthew Stafford's also 4 syllables. Yeah, 100%. I thank Jared for his service. Hell, maybe he stays a backup. He can be part of the journey if we wanted to, but I kind of love the idea of like, I think both sides have learned that they need to finish what they started.
You're so right. And it's that Niners game with the Rams. I'm so proud of Matthew Stafford. I felt like a proud dad. I feel so bad for him, man. Like it's just Detroit all over again. He won the game. He beat a divisional opponent. That's him beating the Packers when the Lions are completely battered. He's got broken ribs. Like we've seen this story before. Get him out, send him to a gritty football team that's built to run the ball and win a Super Bowl, which is Detroit. You're right. You're 100% right here.
Well, maybe here's the way you do it. I stumbled upon it because at first, honestly, fuck Jared Goff. So I was like, he'll be the only one who's sad in all this. Because I think everything's kind of like, hey, if we're going to go down with the ship, it should have always been Jared. Like we gave up on him. Don't we feel a little bad? We won one without him. So I think they bring him home. I think they feel good about it. Detroit fans and anyone else would be so over it if they weren't immediately when Stafford gets introduced for that first game in Detroit and he's fucking sobbing. And I'm assuming he comes out of the tunnel with Calvin Johnson. He's back.
Of course. Yeah, that's right.
I've wanted him since the intro he did of like, I gave up my life for this.
I have nightmares still.
Like I quit the sport I love in the prime of my career 1 season too soon.
I started a weed business because it's the only thing that gets me to sleep at night.
It's crazy. This is what this trade is. Closure. I need it.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do it to make everyone happy, honestly, LA, you said fuck them. This is what this is about. You get them picks back.
True. Yeah.
You got your chip. Send Stafford away. You get a year of Goff without Puka or Cooper. You build up. You're terrible. You draft Sanders probably.
Yep.
Probably, and you're good again. Or whoever you want. Cam Ewers. I don't know. Arch.
Whoever drafts Ewers, by the way, I'll start the chant. We need to draft Arch Manning the next year.
Yeah, 100%. It's a cycle. 100%. Maybe they draft Bennett. I don't know. But you draft somebody and you start over. You start fresh. And then maybe Goff, he's injured. I don't know. His money's guaranteed. He's fine. But you could do a 2-quarterback system. I'm fine if Goff stays in Detroit. If it's Goff and Stafford arm in arm across the finish line, I think that's also fun.
That's a good story. Yeah, that's fine.
Because, hey, by the way, Goff, you want to prove, is it about the team or is it about you? Sit on the bench. Dude.
That's right. Yeah, that's it.
I could just envision. Yeah.
I could just envision Dan Campbell. Just be like, Jared, we talked about this. Come on.
He's so hurt. That's the only way this wish happens because he didn't want to cut Todd Bowles or whoever it was. He didn't want to get rid of. Everyone was like, fire your offensive coordinator. Dan's like, no, we're friends.
Yeah. God, yeah. That's the only person holding this up is Dan Campbell, and I don't blame him. He's too loyal.
Jared has to pull the trigger on the deal. I think that's the only thing he does. He goes, listen,
that's true.
All I ever wanted to do was surf and get high. I've done this as long as I can. Oh no, he can stay there. That's a really good backup quarterback.
Very expensive one too.
That's fine. I don't know. This needs to happen. And
It
then,
does.
by the way, it gives us, which was my actual third wish. We have all we have in the NFL right now, honestly, this was what made me think of it, is all we have is a team to root against. I need a team to root for. The Lions are probably already.
Are we rooting against the Chiefs? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm with Bill. Fuck the Browns. Like every time, and the Cowboys, to your point earlier. Those are the two teams I think I'm rooting against the most.
For sure, but I just meant like the season as a narrative. There's plenty of teams I don't like. I'm leading, by the way. I hope Sam Darnold keeps seeing ghosts, but I just, that sounded like I'm threatening his life, which is not true.
Did you watch that Viking game?
Yeah.
He threw a terrible pass third or fourth quarter to Justin Jefferson, and there's a face Sam Darnold made. It looked like he saw ghosts. Like he looked so scared, like he's about to get cut. He's got so much PTSD. He's just like, he made a bad throw and he thought someone was going to come cut him. Like it was terrifying.
I know.
Sam Darnold to the Panthers, another one, by the way. Did wrong.
Yeah, I think honestly, the thing I'm missing the most that we had in the Kelsey piece that I'm missing now is we were, as much as it was nice to have a villain in the Chiefs, we were rooting for the Eagles, I think largely. I think people kind of went either or, but it was like Jason getting his moment was, for me anyway, was like what I wanted. Mm-hmm. And now, like, I will root for anyone who plays the Chiefs, but I mean, I would rather have the main story be like, we all want this team to win than can someone beat Kansas City.
I agree. That's more fun. And I think an underlying point to your wish
Skylar
into
Thompson
a lot of things,
Miami.
Right? Of course. I think an underlying point to a lot of these things is we have a lot of great storylines in the NFL right now. We've talked about a bunch of them on the show. Over the past few years, we've had a ton of storylines, but there's been zero closure with anything that's happened in the past several years. Deshaun Watson settles, and then now there's another lawsuit. There's no closure with that. There's no closure with the Stafford thing. There's no closure with the Aaron Rodgers thing. I mean, play 4, he tears his Achilles. He's back now, but it doesn't feel great. Like nothing's happening. Yeah. Jordan Love. Oh, Packers found a new quarterback. Oh, he looks kind of bad, and then he gets hurt. There's nothing certain. There's like the start of a million different stories happening, but we're not playing out any of the fucking stories. It's just a lot of stuff's happening and Chiefs Super Bowl. Like, okay.
And maybe what I'm getting at is I think the Detroit one is the closest to getting a resolution because I think we got a taste. I think borderline, like we've talked about this. If I could edit it all, I would have made a video about that storyline, which I can't. So I won't put more thought into it here so someone doesn't fucking steal my idea. But
okay. I actually have another thing that already maybe does point to the fact that you said that this is close to happening. Afterwards.
I just think what's already happened, I think you could tell this story is Stafford chose, like he was on record of like, I want to spend my whole career in Detroit. He was there when they didn't win a game. Like,
yeah. So is Calvin Johnson.
100%. So it's like,
you remember
they were so bad, but they left because there wasn't a direction. So I think the story was like, I want the interview where it's like, I almost think the more compelling version is like, what if this regime doesn't win one, but they're just good? Like, would Stafford still have picked to go if like for a Super Bowl, or did he just care that they literally weren't going to be any realm of competitive? Like, I think the Lions have done everything he would have ever wanted them to do. Sometimes it doesn't bounce your way. I think the cleaner one is like, yeah, they win one, because then it's like, was it worth it? You won one 5 years faster, but you could have been here the whole time. But I also think like if they just make it, I feel like that's a compelling story of like, was it worth it? Right now, I want to ask him, was it worth it? Like, I don't know. I also want to ask Sean McVay, but did this work out? I could never tell if that strategy worked. Was it worth one Super Bowl?
He did not like Jared Goff, so I think it was worth it for him.
Well, he just doesn't want to hang out with Jared. Yeah, that's probably the other hang up. He's like, oh, no, we can't take Jared back.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you saw the latest news with Dan Campbell this past week, but like his address got leaked. So he actually moved houses. He bought a new house, moved houses this past week. His old house, empty. Pretty nice house. Could be, clearing it for somebody to come in. And to your point, 2 quarterbacks needs 2 houses. So Jared Goff's staying. Matthew Stafford's also coming.
I think that's great. And by the way, if they make the Super Bowl, fucking sign Calvin Johnson for a game.
For sure. Yeah. And you
Coach,
better get him a touchdown.
I don't know. Yeah, or throw it to him. Yeah, no, bring him in 100%. You're telling me you still wouldn't line him up in the red zone?
He'd be fantastic. He'd be so good.
He'd be
100%.
so good.
Jason Hanson, too, by the way. He deserves that.
Oh, man.
Jason Hanson can do the new kickoff.
He was my favorite fun fact for a while, which is he spent over half his life in the NFL because he started at 21 and he kicked until he was 45.
Yeah, that's insane. And he has to be in rough shape mentally, like to go through all of that.
I know. Well, and I think I said him on accident, but like all the people they've wronged. Barry Sanders is back.
Yeah.
Who is the coach they never should have fired? I'm going to say the wrong name. He was their coach. He was the Ravens coach for a bit.
I can envision him. He was with the Colts. What the fuck's his name? It was right before Matt Patricia. Jim Caldwell.
Yes. Like,
yeah, he needs to be back for sure.
He should have never left. I guess Golden Tate.
That is true, actually.
There was some moments, man. There were some moments with Detroit.
Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron was supposed to be the next chosen one.
He was supposed to be. He might have been part of the problem. I don't know.
DeAndre Levy, Wisconsin Badger linebacker. He was great too. He just got hurt.
I know. So it's like they've got to bring a lot of folks back. And like honestly, I kind of want someone there who was part of that. I know Ragnow is probably the face of that, but
probably, yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, all they need to do is get it okayed by Panay. He says you can do it. Anyone can.
Yeah. Even Dan Campbell asked for permission for that stuff. Yeah.
Dan, we already ran it by Panay. Oh, I guess I got to go with it then.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. So those are our wishes.
Yeah.
Let us know what you all are wishing for the rest of the NFL season. It seems like a lot has happened. There's 16. I'm already thinking, no, there's 18 weeks in the NFL. I keep thinking we already have 20.
Yeah.
Okay, so 15 weeks left of the regular season. Still a lot. So much is going to happen. We got 15 more Panthers quarterbacks to come. It'll be fantastic. It'll be great. Jake, I have some questions here about mostly the NFL, one non-NFL question. There's just a lot that's happened. We don't have any clarity, to your point. Everything's confusing. So I have some rapid fire questions to throw your way. 1 minute for each question. Between me asking the question, you answering, rapid fire. If we need to revisit any, we can do it. Okay?
I hope one of your questions takes 59 seconds to ask.
They may. And I was going to make this into portrait mode, but we cannot. Per restream, we can't switch it during the stream. Wow. So that's why I'm not asking you that. But are you ready, Jake?
I'm ready.
There's some good ones. I'm going to start with the non-football one, and then we'll get into football because there's one non-football one. Honestly curious about. We'll see if you can answer it in enough time. Let me find it. Okay. Ready? Rapid fire. Okay. Many are saying Shohei Ohtani played the best game of baseball ever. I have no idea what happened. Can you explain it in 30 seconds to me?
Yes. Essentially, Shohei Ohtani in the same game joined and inaugurated the 50-50 club. So he's the first player ever to have 50 steals and over 50 home runs in a season. So he inaugurated that in the same game. Only one person ever in their entire career has had a game where they've had more than 5 extra base hits, had more than 2 steals, had more than 3 home runs, and had more than 6 RBIs. So that would be over their entire career. Shohei's the only person to have ever done that in separate games. He did them all in the same game. So he did that all at once while joining a club that's never been entered before. And by the way, while admitting after the game, he probably could have had more steals this year if he wanted to. So yeah, I think it's literally unmatchable. There's no comparable feat in a 150-year-old sport.
If someone were to bet on that, I'm sure they would have made a lot of money.
Yeah, I would have guessed the odds on the under on each of those individually maybe wouldn't have been great. But he's very good right now.
Okay, Shohei. Okay, I'm sure you didn't bet on anything.
Oh, it was a betting joke. I thought you were like advertising your betting services. I was like, yeah, go through Fantasy Flurry.
No, I'm saying Shohei could have had more. Oh, why? Because you had the line at this. Fuck off. Okay. Anyway, Jake, rank these quarterbacks who all got paid this offseason. Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Tua, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield. Rank the 6.
Okay. Man, remembering all 6 is going to be tough. Okay. Number 1, I'm ranking them in who I would want on my team right now to start. So
Okay.
I think number 1, read them again to me. I'll make it worth your while.
Trevor Lawrence, Jordan Love, Tua, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield.
Okay. If I want them by word to while, just mean I'll be fast. Okay. Number
So
1
far,
on
no.
the list, Baker. 2, Kirk. 3, Jordan Love. 4, I'm skipping. I can't remember 4 or 5, but 6 is Tua. 4 is Jared Goff. 5 is who's the other
Trevor
one?
Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, fair enough. Rank these 3-0 quarterbacks: Justin Fields, Patrick Mahomes, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, and Josh Allen, assuming he wins tonight.
I retained none of them. You got it.
Okay.
Why are there so many lists? Okay,
There's only one other one after this. Justin
it.
Fields, Patrick Mahomes, who's probably won, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Josh Allen, assuming they win.
Okay. I'm going to start chalk. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen. And then I go fuck Sam Darnold, dude. I'm going Geno. Then I'm going Sam last. Who's 4th?
I don't even know. Fields?
Fields. No, Fields is last. I'm going Darnold, then Fields.
Okay.
You know, game manager.
Do you want the other list or do you want a break from lists?
No, give it to me, dude. Give it to me. Okay.
Okay. Rank the NFC South quarterbacks now. We got Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, Kirk Cousins, and Andy Dalton.
I'll believe it when I see it. I'm out on Kirk, and I've been out on Kirk. So he's bottom. Kirk is last. Do it more than one drive a game. Okay. Then we'll talk.
True.
Then, man, what if I don't believe in any of them? Listen, by game, he should be higher. So 3rd, we're gonna go with fuck it, Carr. Then 2nd, we're going Darnold. Number 1 with a bullet.
Darnold's not there. Andy Dalton.
Dalton, same guy. And number 1, Baker.
Okay, fair enough.
He had a tough week, but everyone, Detroit's tough.
If Kirk Cousins goes to the 4th quarter, last drive again, we need to start making Tim Tebow comparisons. There's a lot of comparisons to be made there, I think. Okay.
The people who really like God need to pray for more than 1 quarter.
That's true. Good point. Very good point. A K-State fan that said they would shove a 5-layer burrito up their ass if the Wildcats lost to BYU. They went on to lose by 29. The day after, Skylar Thompson played like he had something stuck up his ass. So I would like the thoughts from a drinking buddy of Skylar Thompson at K-State. Go.
Saw him out at a bar one time, just in case he reached out and was like, I don't know who you are. But we are friends. And if you don't remember, I shot you a finger gun one time. But here's my thoughts. Give it a time. Give it a chance. K-State's still going to win the Big 12. They just wanted a little bit of drama. And Skylar Thompson, let him develop a little. His ribs are broken. He needs a little time. Here's my thoughts. God damn BYU. Of course it was BYU. No one should have to play at 9:30. No one should have to play at 9:30. And Skylar, his team gave up on him.
Do you think Skylar Thompson was said K-State fan?
I hope
people are talking.
After that game, I hope Skylar Thompson then had to go in the locker room and shove a burrito up his ass. Or he can come out and say, I played so bad because there was a burrito up my rectum.
It's believable. Okay, this is something I doubt you heard. Tua Tagovailoa was put on IR to meet with independent neurologists. Then it was reported today that there was a mix-up in scheduling, meaning Tua has still not been able to see a doctor. So are the Dolphins sabotaging him, or do you think the doctor is a fan of this show?
Ooh, I think both could be true. I think honestly, it is not in the Dolphins' best interest for him to see a doctor fast. You know,
That's true.
that is true. I also think that we're beloved by the medical field. So I think, he might be a fan. And if so, you should be sick tomorrow. You're a doctor. Who's going to doubt you?
Yeah, write your own note. A lot of doctors listen to this show. Okay, last one. Okay, here we go. If Jordan Love loses to Sam Darnold in the Vikings next week, do you say Love re-injured his knee and put him on IR?
I do not. But here's the bigger thing. If Jordan Love starts next week and they run less than they have the other ones, we start calling for Matt LaFleur's job. Don't change the game plan that's been working.
That's a great point. Those are the rapid fire questions. Did you hear about that Tua thing?
Not at all. His doctor fucking no-showed.
There was a mix-up in scheduling, and apparently the NFL quarterback couldn't meet with a doctor. The doctor big-timed him. Like, no, sorry.
Well, okay, I couldn't get into it in the moment. I don't think the Dolphins are meddling around. Here's what I think happened. I think Tua's got a specific doctor he's got to see because he knows what the doctor is going to tell him. Don't you think? Like, I think he's like, I can't reschedule with a different doctor because you like head trauma and you're going to let me play.
Maybe. That's true. I'm not sure if he has to. I don't know. I don't know. But I like the thought of the doctor just being like, sorry, like, you're not important. You are.
I hope the doctor got a concussion. Like anyone in his orbit, just like, oh.
Maybe. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Like, he was put on IR, like, because Tua wants to meet with these other independent neurologists, and then nothing's happened.
Here's my question. Is it infinite? Is there a rule of like how many doctors do you get before it's the consensus?
I don't think there's anything that the NFL is doing. It's truly, I think, it's because supposedly, and this is the stupidest report I've heard, Tua's feeling fine. So I think theoretically he's going to clear concussion protocol as soon as he is possible to come back. I think he can and probably will come back. So I think the NFL, I think this whole charade, okay, is just Tua's just looking for someone to be like, yeah, you can continue your career. Like, it's not about clearing him. I think he's going to be cleared, but I can tell you what the doctor is going to say. Like, every doctor is going to be like, yes, you can go back to play, but once you have a concussion, then you're more prone to more concussions. Yeah. Like, it's the same thing every time. That's what concussions are.
Here's the thing. This is a little sad, but bear with me because I also think it's a little funny. I think rather than the Dolphins, like, what if it's like Tua's parents? Like, doctor, don't meet. Like, just don't go. Because he's not, to your point, we talked about that already. These are not should I retire appointments. These are am I clear appointments. That question is not being that question is up to Tua, and he before he saw a doctor answered it.
Right. I don't do my honest opinion of what's going to happen. I think Tua's not going to go to a doctor. I think he did the whole thing of, oh, yeah, I made the appointment, but they canceled on me. You never made the appointment, motherfucker. You don't want
2 weeks to get my degree from the University of Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, did you call to make that appointment? Oh, yeah, I definitely called. No, you didn't. You've been fucking he's so stupid. I hate Tua. There's no way. And it's not his family. It might be it's not his parents. His dad wants him to be out there yesterday. His dad thinks every concussion is just another sticker on the helmet. It's not his dad. I can guarantee that from everything I know about his family. Could be his wife and child. They probably are like, hey, would love to see dad here next year. You know, that'd be fine.
That's true. It's Jake Long from the Beyond to be like, get out of there while you can.
Jake wasn't on the Lions from what I remember. Jake Long should be on that Lions team that has Stafford and Calvin Johnson. He deserves it.
It's true. Scott Mitchell, bring him back. I don't know. I think that's silly. The only other NFL thing that we didn't cover and anything else I wanted to talk about, which is out of a week that I really didn't like, even as a Packer fan, I do have to admit, I was into the Levis Malik Willis stuff. I wanted to talk about it. Like
it's fun.
Tennessee like was in a position coming into the year where it's like, if you're 0-3, I don't feel like this should feel as defeated as they do. But I think it's like between Levis looking like he has, where he didn't have like the world's worst interception this week, but he had another bad pick. And Willis has won 2 games, like on a good team with a good running game. But
sure, yeah, I don't remember a more clear situation where it's like we have a pretty good football team and our quarterback is he's the only thing sabotaging us. He is the biggest anchor on our team. I haven't seen a situation like this in forever. Except for maybe, actually, you know what? Maybe Skylar Thompson.
Yeah, but he was not a choice. He's had 1 week of like
he was not a choice. You're correct. Yeah.
And listen, you said this before the show. He didn't throw in college. Let him run. Stop throwing. So he's a good running quarterback. Bring in Will Howard. That's a reference to K-State fans. He was his back up there. Bring him in. But listen, man, I don't know if I've seen a situation like this either in a long time, where it's like, yeah, the team's like one position away and it's you. I also think this is so hard to do because I'm as a Packer fan, I know you'll agree with this, so I'm caveating a little bit because I don't know if I do, but I think for sure you could at least have the discussion. Are the Titans just as good as the Packers are?
Yeah.
And
overall, yeah.
So it's like you're a Willis away from like being as good. Like, like that's and I know that's tough because it's like no one was in on Malik. He had like 3 games of like the worst football you've ever seen. He had 0 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Like anyone would have made that trade. And now everything looks bad. Everything looks bad. Shouldn't be there. DeAndre's hurt. Like,
well, here's the other thing that no one's talking about, and I don't know if it's because they don't know this or if they're just completely missing this. Not only is Will Levis very, very bad on the field, right? Like he is just not good. He's very clearly the weak point of this Tennessee team. He's the reason, essentially, Mike Vrabel got fired as well. Because Vrabel did not want him. Everyone's like, why is Tannehill in after they drafted Levis? It's because of Tannehill. Vrabel wanted control of the personnel on their team, and he never, ever, ever was given it. He was never given the ability to draft. He did not want to draft Will Levis. He did not want all of these things, and they just kept going over him, and then he got super pissy, and then they, rightfully so, and then they parted ways. So, like, the trade-off is, and then all of a sudden they acquired all these good players once Vrabel's gone. But it could be this team with Vrabel and, I mean, at the very least, Malik Willis, but a different quarterback. Like, this team could be very good right now.
Yeah, and I just think, like, to your point, I don't remember one where it's like he's made plays so bad that it's very obviously him. Like, he's the problem. And because of that, it's also very obvious that like that trade they made also would have been better to have Malik. Like that's such an interesting, like most times it's like, well, you can't play hindsight 2020, like your Monday morning quarterbacking. No, I'm not. It's his fault.
Yeah.
Your Honor. He did it.
They would be 2-1 or no, 1-2 if during the Bears game, they punted it every single time they got the ball in the second half. All they had to do is just punt it away. They had no business losing the game. It's incredible.
And who knows how last week would have gone. Literally any other quarterback is starting for you. They are up 14-0.
Yeah.
And who knows what happens after that. I think the comparison between Green Bay and Tennessee is interesting enough that like it's too simplistic to say that like if the quarterbacks flip, that game flips. But
correct.
But who knows? Will Levis does seem like a Green Bay guy though, so maybe maybe we'd fix him.
if we had a quarterback room of Will Levis and Sean Clifford, I would jump off a cliff. What a bad. We would be Penn State, and that
we would be.
I can't do that. I hate that.
No, I know. Go Lions. No, I think I don't know. And like Tennessee should be bad. Now almost it's like maybe you're just terrible and you ride the quarterback sweepstakes. I don't know. Because I guess maybe like that's the one argument is like all Tennessee should do. Don't do anything this year besides decide on quarterback. That's like my fear is they're going to be like, well, because to your point, whatever he does feels like a validation of they shouldn't have got rid of Vrabel, which is also true. And now that we're here, like they've been well managed, they've been well coached. The rest of the team looks fine. Literally don't do anything besides decide what to do with Will Levis.
The issue is like DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have much time left.
No.
Like next year, I mean, he's hurt this year, so it's kind of done already anyway. But like next year, DeAndre Hopkins may not be DeAndre Hopkins. So they kind of missed their window. But they should be, a team drafting in the top 3 trying to get a quarterback. Like there's no reason to fuck around and win 4 or 5 games. No reason.
I would say their window's closed, like especially with Hopkins hurt. But even coming into the year, it's like no Vrabel, no Henry. Like I would have been surprised if they were good. So I think
I thought they were going to be.
Well, they should have been better, especially with the way that division is currently playing.
True. They're not out of it. Yeah, that's kind of
no, very much not. Like I don't know who. I guess the Texans are the favorite in that, and they've looked bad in stretches. They looked really bad against Minnesota, and you can give X amount of credit to Minnesota, but I don't know. So that's the one other game I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you had any other football things you wanted to talk about. I do have one baseball thing I wanted to throw at you to end.
I mean, for football, I don't know. It's just like it's so clear and obvious that the Chiefs are so much better than everybody, and it's I love it, but it's also a little bit of a slap in the face for Mahomes to come out and talk about how terribly the team's playing, how bad he's playing, and they already look not even close to their competition.
And they're like winning games on ref calls. Like they're not killing people. And it's like, they're the best team. That's the part that I think is getting missed. Is like, they're getting lucky, but not in like are they good or bad way. No, I know. If you had to pick a second best team, like right now, like you are the second best, I'm tempted without seeing what happens on Monday Night Football to be like, is it now that people are out on the Bills, I'm sneaking in.
I did the exact same thing this week. I'm in on the Bills offense, by the way. They're an old school running team. I fucking love it.
You don't yet believe in DeMar Hamlin, but we're gonna feel it out.
I'm coming around on DeMar Hamlin a little bit.
I'm coming around on them. Diggs is gone. Bad vibes out.
I know. I like this Bills team, and I like DeMar Hamlin. Did you see what he did to Tua? The dude is great, and he's been covering tight ends very well, playing the run very well. I saw it. He's been playing the run very well. Thoughts on Cornbread, Randy? Love it. I don't. Yeah. But give your thoughts and give your baseball thoughts, and we're gonna go out on one question that's related to Randy's question that I have for you.
Okay. I wanted to give a fun baseball fact, which is I mentioned this briefly. The White Sox, if you didn't see, just tied the modern era record for worst season of all time, most losses. So different lengths of season, but they have 120 losses so far. And they may have lost today. So they might be at 121. But they had potential, as I researched this, to go have 127 losses. So they'd be 35 and 127. Their best possible record was 42 and 120. So, and that be tied for worst all time, no matter what. So they're going to lose at least one more of them. So they'll have the solo worst modern record. Couple things to keep that in perspective. One, the modern era is since 1900. It's not like any more recent than that. So since 1900, that's the worst baseball record ever. They have a worse record than teams who weren't integrated. They had a worse record than teams who were semi-pro. playing against pro teams. So it's that bad all time. Second on the list is like 1965. There's people below them in like the 60s and 30s. Also the 2003 Tigers, but you got to sneak in there a little bit. But so they're bad. Here's the thing, Zach. They're not the worst team ever, but I feel like that's been because all the questions I've been hearing are like, can they catch the worst? The answer is no, because the worst record all time is 135 losses. It's the 1899 Cleveland Spiders, which, by the way, fuck you, Guardians, for not going back to the Cleveland Spiders. You had a cool name right there that you chose not to take. But they're not going to be that bad. Zach, it's literally because everyone's been like, wow, they're not going to be the worst team ever. The 1899 Cleveland Spiders knew going into the season that they weren't going to be a team in 1900. They had already agreed to sell the team. The Spiders team owners, the Robinson family, also owned the St. Louis Perfectos. Great name, by the way. So many teams that we could have been. That's what Washington should be. Anyway, before leaving Cleveland, the Spiders agreed before the season over to ship its best players to St. Louis. The owners used it as like a development team in-house. So a lot of the players had never played professional baseball before. People stopped attending their home games altogether. Some teams refused to travel to Cleveland to play road games.
Okay.
They were that bad. And it's the worst record of all time. Before selling the team, knew it ahead of time. So that's not a comparison. Like to say that, well, they're not the worst. Like it's just been getting on my nerves because everyone was like, well, I wish it was the worst of all time. Don't worry, it is because they have a roster of paid folks. Like they're a real team. The Spiders are like glorified NXT for WWE fans. They were just developmental.
You're saying a lot of off the field things, though. If they were on the field against the White Sox, who would win?
I like the gumption of the Spiders.
Okay, so it sounds like the White Sox are the worst team.
I think the White Sox are the worst team. I will say though, I'm gonna dude, I can't believe this. I'm going to read off the names of the pitchers who were on this team, and you tell me if they could beat the White Sox, because I think the answer is clearly yes. Okay. And by the way, these are people they freaking sent to St. Louis. One of them, by the way, fuck you, Cleveland. 124 years later, one of them is Cy Young.
Really?
They sent Cy Young away. Screw you. Yeah, they were okay. Here's the names. You tell me if they could have beat the White Sox. Frank Bates. Okay, somewhat modern. Okay. Jack Powell. Yeah. Okay. Pete McBride.
Okay.
There's Zeke Wilson. Feels like he plays NFL now. He's a corner.
Yeah.
Harry Maupin.
Oh, mopping every team.
Don't worry. We're building. Willie Sudhoff.
Ooh. Okay.
Kid Carsey.
The kid. I love it.
All right. George Cuppy. And finally, of course, Cowboy Jones.
Oh. What? Are you kidding?
He for sure worked Cowboy Jones.
Oh my God.
Dude, he had two nicknames. His Wikipedia page: Albert Edward Cowboy Bronco Jones.
Oh, fucking A. That guy's a legend.
He only pitched one full season. Thank God, dude.
He is done after that. Fuck it.
Oh, he's from Golden, Colorado. Of course he is.
Yeah, Madison Bumgarner's grandpa, probably.
Yeah. Oh man, nothing in here. I was hoping he like invented the steam engine or something, like some other. Oh, dude, we found it. He was later the mayor of Golden, Colorado.
Mayor, Bronco, Cowboy. What is it?
Jones. Cowboy Jones.
Good for him.
And by the way, he did it to hide a double first name. Albert Edward. His name was Albert Edward Jones.
That's wild too. Albert
Edward Cowboy Bronco Jones. He was too boring, so he got two nicknames.
Hey, it sounds like he earned them.
Strangers call me Cowboy. Friends call me Bronco.
Before we get out of here, quick redaction. Maybe this will be a new segment of things we got completely wrong during the show. Bills are up 13-0. The other game has not started, so they are not scheduled at the same time tonight. I got a little heated.
I was the whole with you at.
I got caught up in the moment. Bills are already up 13-0. So I think Trevor Lawrence, hang it up. Doug Peterson, put on a helmet. That's my opinion there. Now, here's my question we need to go out on. And what's up, Danny? And Randy, thank you for your question. If you had to give one NFL player, let's go current, the nickname Cornbread, who would it be?
It's hard not to go Creed Humphrey.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Cornbread.
Cornbread Humphrey. That's a great name.
Yeah. You pick one, and then I think we should do one that's not a lineman.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to think of the most unnatural one, but yeah.
Yeah. Cornbread Metcalf.
Cornbread Metcalf is fantastic. It's got to be a unique last name like Metcalf. I keep going to players that are good, but
yeah,
it's got to be a weird last name. Cornbread Rice is weird. Cornbread Mahomes is not bad. I think more people would like him.
All right, here we go. Bye time. Shout out another one because I've got a
Cornbread Levis. That's not bad.
Cornbread Levis. But it's not as good as Cornbread Willis.
Cornbread Willis is fantastic.
That's very good. I'm going to the active list. I need to see what last names start with C. I need some alliteration.
What about Cornbread Patterson instead of Cordero?
That's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty funny.
Cornbread Flacco instead of Footsteps. Footsteps Joe Flacco is still so funny. I love that's such a good nickname.
That is good.
Yeah, I should look at it.
Cornbread Gary.
Cornbread Gary's okay.
Oh, Cornbread Clifford.
Cornbread Clifford's very good.
I knew there's got to be some alliteration options here.
We could probably do first names if we needed to.
Cornbread Camara.
Cornbread Camara's okay. What's a very southern last name? Like Bradford would be good if he was still in the league. Sutton's pretty Cornbread. I think that's it.
Yeah, we found him.
We found it.
Nick also is good. Or Cornbread Bow. I like Cornbread Bow better.
Cornbread Bow. Okay, that is good. Okay, thank you for that. We came up with a new nickname. We'll maybe get some merch out for that as well. We kind of have to at this point. We'll be back next week. Subscribe to the show. Subscribe to the Flurry Sports YouTube channel. And we'll see you soon. Goodbye.
So let's get moving. Swing to the Flurry Sports groove. Listen up and let your worries just snooze. Grab your popcorn, settle in. Let's have a blast with Zach and Jake, the Flurry Sports Podcast.